Sometimes I feel like I've already played every video game in existence and that I've experienced everything that the medium can do, which might seem a little depressing, but the upside to this is that I felt myself begin to gravitate towards weirdo, bizarre stuff as a result. During last year's Christmas marathon, I played a ROM hack called B3313, a psychological horror-themed Super Mario 64 ROM hack that leans very heavily on Mario 64's infamous liminal spaces, as it were, combining it with the naturally unsettling nature of the game's beta. To this day, it's probably one of the best ROM hacks I have ever played just because of how bizarre it is and how perfectly it nails that feeling of being stuck in a nightmare. Turns out, this baby mode game lends itself very well to scary stuff, and since then, I've been kinda wanting my next fix of weird and creepy nonsense, and I believe I found it. It's called sm64.z64, and it was released a little earlier this year, and somehow completely slipped my radar. I guess it couldn't be V64 or N64 because the letter Z is more terrifying than anything else. It's so terrifying that its pronunciation depends on what part of the world you live in. Is it Z64 or Z64? Playing this ROM hack really took me back to the old creepypasta days. Granted, I've already been spelunking in that era lately, mostly because of that freaky Luigi's Mansion hack I played the other day. You may have picked up on this over the years, but I was a big fan of creepypasta until they fell out of style, so it's always great to see creepypasta type things pop up now and again. So I think the best way to approach this is to bust out my creepypasta reading voice for y'all. When you boot up the game, you are greeted with a title screen, which appears to be closer to the beta version, while a slightly slower version of the usual drum beat plays in the background. After pressing start, you are placed in the regular starting area of the game. You enter the castle, and find that it's just a single room, vaguely reminiscent of the real castle lobby, but with only one door. There is no music playing. Inside is the painting for Bob-omb Battlefield. Upon entry, you're given an objective: get the star. While exploring the battlefield, something is amiss. The familiar music is playing, but slightly more slowly. Confusing signposts populate the area, which don't seem to indicate anything obvious. You scale the entire mountain, and by this point, it becomes apparent that there is not a single enemy populating the entire map. Upon getting the star, the game crashes, a seemingly anticlimactic ending, but after resetting and trying it again, it's apparent that something is different. The hallway gets longer. The painting now only has two Bob-ombs. Bob-omb Battlefield looks largely the same, and yet again, the game crashes once you get the star. After another reset, the castle grounds now look much different, with missing textures, assets, and none of the ambience. Some of these things are subtle enough you might not even notice them at first. The hallway is now even longer, and there remains only one Bob-omb in the painting. The battlefield is shrouded in darkness. Now the music is much different, more slowed down, and with certain instruments much quieter. By now it's clear that the signs are pointing in the opposite direction of the star, almost as though it's trying to lead you to the exit. Strange things like a floating bouquet of flowers surrounded by more down arrows. You reach the top once again, grab the star, crash again. Reset the game once more. Now the skybox is missing. Many textures have turned gray. The water is dried up. It is almost as though the world is disintegrating before your eyes. The hallway, now longer than ever, leads to a painting of a blank sky. You jump in. The music is now completely gone. The objective: leave. The draw distance is very short, only revealing a few feet in front of you. After walking around a desolate, dead silent Bob-omb Battlefield, it happens. A 30-second timer starts counting down against this terrifying music as you frantically reach the top of the mountain, only to find that there is no star. The world darkens, starts turning red until the time runs out. Silence. The screen begins to shake, and out of the darkness of the world emerges a corrupted, glitchy Mario who chases you. Upon contact, the game crashes. After one more reset, the title screen is now gone, replaced with blank blue tiles. Upon starting, the game fades in. The ambience is back. The peaceful, reassuring sound of chirping birds can be heard. Everything is in place, except for Mario. A text box appears. Everything is better off without you. Very much like B3313, this is a hack that absolutely nails the feeling of being in a bizarre nightmare, where everything seems right at a cursory glance except for some select things that are just a little bit off, and it very quickly starts to snowball until it's abundantly clear that there is something wrong. That clever lure into a false sense of security and the exponential decay of that security is what makes this ROM hack so special. Now, concerning the creepypasta aspect of it, something I've said in the past is that creepypastas are usually not very good if there isn't something tangible. If it's just words telling you, yeah man, I played Mario and he died and it was scary man, that just isn't as effective unless there's some sort of evidence, and this could easily work as a creepypasta hack. As to whether or not you could really call it that is a little complicated. I did a tiny bit of digging, by which I mean I browsed the creator's Twitter, which revealed some interesting things, referencing the creepypasta simply titled Mario, and hinting at subtle story elements that most people have missed, which I imagine may include me. My brain does not immediately leap towards anything outside of the literal, but after thinking it over for a bit, I feel like this could be interpreted as a story about extremely severe mental health crisis culminating in suicidal thoughts. It starts out with doing something that should be fun, Super Mario 64, except all of the fun has been meticulously sucked out of it, just like things you would normally enjoy become benign or boring when you're severely depressed. It crashes and you get nowhere. You change nothing. Like the routine of life takes its toll on the mental spirit, it begins to feel like you're going nowhere. You get up again, but every day it somehow gets worse until you're not all there. Reality begins to slip away from you, and without the proper help and support, it can hit critical levels and you can eventually lose control. And at the end of it all, Mario tries to escape it, but there is no star, as though there is no help left. And he is finally killed by a corrupted version of himself, as though he took his own life. And after the final reset, Mario is gone, and the world just keeps on rolling with everything working as intended, with the message that without him, the world is a better place. A question that many suicidal people may ask themselves, would the world be better without me in it? This honestly, truly threw me for a loop, and really, this last line is what made this hack for me. Whether my interpretation is accurate to the intended reading or not, this is the line that ties everything together and really puts it over the top for me. It makes it very tangible. I don't think it's a stretch to say that there is more to this story than just the literal, I think it's a very read between the lines kind of story. It may perhaps be a bizarre mosaic of symbolism and metaphors. This is probably one of the best examples of the less is more approach to horror, in that a lot of what you see is just regular Mario 64, but with modifications in very specific and remarkably effective areas. Revisiting the same area 4 times and watching it decay before your eyes, it really is something else, and something that I haven't seen much of, and something I hope to see more of in the future. Now, I'm sorry if this episode was a downer. It is a very downtrodden and spooky ROM hack, but that speaks to its effectiveness as a piece of art. And I would recommend going through it yourself. Maybe some of you will notice some details that I missed, but with that out of the way, thank you for watching, and keep on hitting that reset button.